We're still focused on Inec'S readiness for the March 18th elections. And now we'll take a listen to what Nigerians have to say, especially as regards their own preparedness for these elections. And then we'll be back to continue the conversation.
I have my PVC, I casted my vote, and I'm very sure I will do that this coming Saturday, and my vote will count.
Of course, we are all prepared for the election. It's our right to vote, so we are prepared for it.
We came purposely because of this election, and all of us that came, we have PVC, and we are ready to vote.
Well, Nigerians, they're talking about how prepared they are. Some people saying that they are actually ready to vote. There have been, Matthew Luke is still here with us. So Matthew, there have been talks about how voter apathy may increase these elections because a lot of Nigerians have lost confidence because of what happened February 25th. But do you think that that would be the case?
Definitely, we are going to see some level of voter apathy as a result of what happened in that election. Because the reason most Nigerians decided to participate is the confidence they had in the process. And what gave them the confidence is the new technology that was introduced into the system and the INEC guideline. So if INEC now renege on that, their guideline, it's definitely going to affect, because if you look at people's perception, they already have the perception that INEC is not free, fair, INEC is not independent. So, and if you look at even the INEC spokesperson, by Sir Festus Okoye, who told us repeatedly before that election that Beavers is going to be the ultimate arbiter, meaning the judge. So, to what extent can you now say that the Beavers was the judge? A situation where, even as we speak, more than 1 week after the election, we are not even sure whether you have 100% accreditation of voters on their Beavers. And these were supposed to be part of the indices that will guide you in arriving at who won the election. So, however I look at it, Nigerians are already discouraged, but I will encourage them not to despair. They should not lose hope, because to lose hope is to give in to the acts of the politicians. Because what the politicians had always wanted is for people to avoid the process, so that it can give them an opportunity to manipulate the process. So I will encourage Nigerians, irrespective of what INEC did that is provocative, that they should not lose hope. They should come out and participate in the next round of election and vote for their choice candidates.
Well, as regards Lagos, let's look at Lagos now. We've seen that there have been allegations of attacks, especially those from the southeastern part of the country, saying that their markets, there was a recent fire at Akere Market, and we've seen Governor Sanwo-Olu say that he would give them 100 million naira to compensate for it. But where do you see all of this leading to, especially looking at the fact that this has now turned to a tribal war?
It's rather quite unfortunate. Well, for me, what happened in Lagos in the last election is beyond the narrative that people are trying to give it, that is an Igbo thing. For me, it's beyond it. Because if I must tell you, it is not by circumstance that you saw Lagos State government giving a vehicle that were impounded free of charge to people. It's not by circumstance. And if you look at the impact of last Endsars, you agree with me that Nigerians or Lagosians, some people who are aggrieved that the victim of SARS brutality did not get justice. I don't think Lagos State have been able to address that. Because I can understand that even at the last count, when Mr. Governor wanted to do a peace walk, he invited the likes of FAS, Fela's son, and they told him that the peace walk that is necessary in Lagos is
the 5 points agenda. That
is justice for the.
Yes, that's part of the 5 points agenda.
It's part of it. So I don't think that has been addressed. And if I may suggest, I think what the Lagos State government needed to do, because if you look at the report of Endsars panel in Lagos, some police personnel were indicted. I think what the government needed to do is to take over the prosecution of that case on behalf of those Lagosians that were affected. That way, it would have boosted the confidence of the people that the government cared for them. And the government did not do that. So if you look at the issue of all these yellow bus drivers in Lagos State, the keke operators, the informal tax they pay. I think there was a time the Lagos State government was proposing that as a bus driver, if you pay 800 a day, it take care of all you need to pay for that day. But I don't think Lagos State government were able to do that. So if you look at the informal tax they pay, and if you go and sample the opinion of those people who use these yellow buses and the keke operators, you see that they are not comfortable with that taxing system. So I don't think, that's why I tell you that the narrative that it was an Igbo thing is misplaced. So Lagos State government, I can understand they are doing so much since after that presidential election, because they know that they needed to reach out to the people, they needed to reconnect with the people. So for me, Lagos State election in this forthcoming governorship election, we might not see it exactly the way people voted in that presidential election. Because I can understand that Lagos State government currently is reaching out to the people, trying to reconnect with the people. But to be factual, the narrative of is an Igbo thing is wrong. It is not an Igbo thing. And again, when we saw that arson, the burning of that market and the governor's visit and all that, for me is condemnable. Because however I look at it, if you say it is not ethnic clash rather, why is it that it doesn't mean it's coincidental? And I think we should discourage such, because it's an evil wind that blew no one good. And it's good to think that the government, through the governor, is rising to the occasion to address it and making monetary promise and all that, so that if people suffer damage, at least they can have something to fall back to pick up their life and start a new business.
Now, my question is, yes, it's okay for, a market to be set ablaze and the government responding to the plight of the people, because these are people's livelihood. It's okay. But looking at the issue of you releasing vehicles that were impounded few days to the election, could that be any subtle means of saying the governor is perhaps trying to, introduce vote buying?
He wants people to, he want to ease, according to them, he wants to ease the suffering of the people.
So why is it
no, definitely what he wants to do is, he wants to win their hearts. Because even yesterday, was it yesterday or day before yesterday, at Oba, I saw free medical outreach, courtesy of Lagos State government, maybe through Ojodu local government area. It is still a way of trying to make people reconnect with the people.
My question is, why is it coming at this time?
It's coming at this time because the man understands that the people might not vote him. It's clear. Because judging by the last election, the only way you can change the tide, if actually vote will count, is for the people to vote for you. And for people to vote for you, you need to reconnect with them. I've even seen a video recently where even Mr. Governor went to church and was having handshake with people, which ordinarily he was not doing before now.
Let's not just make it about Lagos State, because this is talking about Inec'S preparedness. A lot of people have said that for INEC to restore confidence in the people, that they have to deal with all of the issues that happened February 25th. That's according to those who believe that the elections were not free and fair. But what do you think INEC could have done, or what do you think they should do to restore confidence in Nigerians? Of course, they've already announced the president-elect. Some people said before they even announced the president-elect, they should have listened to the grievances of those who, were raising some objections, instead of just telling them, go to court. What do you think they can do to restore confidence?
Well, let me tell you, unfortunately, once you make a pronouncement as a returning officer, in this case, the national chairman of INEC, who was a returning officer, once you make a pronouncement, you are not empowered by law to make any contrary statement. The way it stands, even the INEC chairman cannot make any statement with respect to saying the president-elect is no longer the president-elect.
That's what I'm saying.
Or whether he wants to review the result. He cannot.
That's what I'm saying. So people were saying that before he announced the president-elect, he should have at least listened to the grievances of those who were raising objections.
But just opposing that with how to build the confidence of Nigerians currently, to be quite honest with you, it is going to be very difficult to build confidence of Nigerians in the process. It's going to be a Herculean task. Because for me, The only thing that will make me rekindle confidence in the process is to see INEC in action. Because INEC can no longer be trusted with what they say. You have said something in the past, you have reneged on it, you breach it, and we are not sure whether the excuse you give was genuine or not. So for me, though I encourage Nigerians to come out and vote, but what I'm saying is that until we see them do it in this next round of election, that is the only time we can see, we can build confidence in the process again. And again, Lagos, like I just said before now, court order have compelled INEC that election result in Lagos State must be uploaded to INEC server. And anything to contrary of that, to that will render Lagos State election null and void.
So in terms of security, do you think INEC is well prepared? We listened to the rec.
I don't think security was our major challenge.
No, but
Even
the
if we
reason
had
I
some-
asked that question is this is now a more localized election,
I'm
closer
coming,
to the
I'm
people,
coming.
and a lot of people might want to take laws into their own hands if it doesn't go their own
you
way,
cannot-
especially looking at what they experienced the last election.
You cannot
so we
take
can't compare
away.
it to
You
the
cannot
last
take
one.
away possibility of security breach even in this forthcoming election. But we are looking at it was not holistic. I mean, the security breach was not holistic. And what the Electoral Act talks about is if the process substantially comply with the Electoral Act. From the beginning, we have some isolated issues of voter suppression, thuggery, and all that. But where we had major challenge was in the process of collation, when INEC did not upload election result electronically. Otherwise, if INEC had uploaded election result electronically, it is irrespective of who was declared winner. Because it means that is who the people want. If their process is free, fair, and credible, it is irrespective of who was declared winner.
Because
it means that is the government the people want. But people are questioning the process because INEC breached their own guideline.
Now,
And to that extent, the process cannot be deemed to be free, fair, and credible.
Now, talk to us about logistics, because it was one of the excuses that they gave, after the last elections. Could there be not, can we not start feeling that way right about now, that they could also give issues with logistics, especially coming to those locations quite on time?
If INEC could come out to tell Nigerians and the world that the issue of logistics is a perennial problem, and they had the same problem in 2015, 2019, now they're having it. I don't think it's something they can resolve in this election. Except we are looking at in the next round of election, which is about maybe in the 2027 election or so. Because if you had the same issue of logistic problem last presidential election, I don't see anything they would have done differently between that last election and this forthcoming election to resolve that issue.
So we're still going to have issues of
Definitely, we are
voters
still going to
getting
have
disenfranchised.
issue of electoral officers coming late. We are still going to have it. There's no two ways about it.
And then polling units not having INEC present.
We are still going to have similar things.
So that might also stretch the time into the night,
Definitely.
which might also create room for manipulation of results.
No, if you upload election result electronically, it's very difficult to manipulate. The reason is this. As at the time you are counting, almost everybody that voted is around. And it's difficult for you to manipulate because people who won, or the party that won the election in that polling unit.
But you're aware that visibility will be poor, especially when it's conducted at night.
You see, people can, there could be...
Can you not factor that in?
There could be light from a phone or from any other device. Where it becomes a challenge is when you take away that result sheet from from EC8A, from the polling unit to ward level. That is where it becomes a challenge.
Are you also aware that there were cases of some INEC officials not being able to operate the Beavers machine?
That should be addressed. I believe they would have addressed that by now. Then the guy you interviewed, I was wondering when he was talking about that they didn't have challenge in uploading results from his polling unit. When INEC across the whole Nigeria said no result was uploaded as a when due. So I was surprised when he was talking about the upload of results from his polling unit. Maybe you're praying from another word anyway.
Well, we'll just leave that to the air. But thank you so much for your time, Matthew Oluku, for the contribution this morning. Well, we would be wrapping up the show now with the quote of the day, and that is by Ralph Nader, saying, "The function of leadership is to produce more leaders, not more followers." Of course, recipes are locators.
Of course, that's what it means. You know, we know a leader by virtue of who, you know, who takes the shot. So it's not just you saying you're a leader. You can be a leader, you're someone taking the shot and gets followership. So that's what it means.
Well, it's about passing on the mantle and ensuring that you empower others and not just you being the Lord of all. Well, this is what we wrap it up today. Thank you so much for being a part of iBrand Daybreak. My name is Omobolanle Adeshi. Wishing you a fruitful day.